The mountain lion attacked her, but didn't realize she wasn't alone there. A California woman's dog is being hailed as a hero after jumping to her owner's defense when a mountain lion attacked the pair. The woman, who's been identified as Erin Wilson, encountered the mountain lion when she was taking her dog Eva for a stroll near a picnic area along State Route 299 in Trinity County on Monday. After she exited her car with her dog, the duo began walking down a path with Eva slowly tracking ahead of her. Before Wilson knew it, a mountain lion jumped out from her side and swiped her across her left shoulder. While in pain, Wilson called out for her dog. "I yelled, 'Eva!' and she came running," Wilson told the Sacramento Bee on Wednesday. "And she hit that cat really hard." Wilson noted that her 2.5-year-old dog weighs 55 pounds and tried its best to take down the cougar. "They fought for a couple of seconds, and then I heard her start crying," Wilson said. "That's when the cat latched onto her skull." The lion ended up biting the dog's head with a firm grip. While trying to get the animals apart, Wilson threw rocks at the lion and even attempted to gouge its eyes out to get Eva free, but to no avail. Wilson headed back to the road and flagged down a passerby named Sharon Houston for help. Wilson told the Sacramento Bee that she used a tire iron from her pickup truck to get Houston's attention. Together, they used a piece of PVC pipe that Houston had in her car to beat the mountain lion, who was beginning to drag the dog off the trail. The lion finally had enough and let Eva go. It later ran away after Houston sprayed it in the eyes with pepper spray. After the altercation, Wilson drove Eva to a veterinarian to seek immediate care, and she later took herself to be seen by someone in Redding, California. "I don't think," she said, "I will ever be able to live up to how amazing and loyal she is to me." According to a statement from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Wilson suffered non-life-threatening bite wounds, scratches, bruises, and abrasions during her scuffle with the mountain lion. Eva, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. Wilson's husband, Connor Kenny, told SF Gate that Eva experienced seizures before receiving care, and she also suffered 2 fractures to her skull, a punctured sinus cavity, and severe damage to her left eye. However, she's been recovering, and on Thursday, Wilson told her Instagram followers that Eva was finally well enough to return home. The downside, her sister is upset they can't play, she wrote. "My dog is my hero, and I owe her my life," Wilson wrote on the dog's GoFundMe page. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife say that they collected samples from the wounds of those involved in the fight and believe that it's enough to treat the investigation as a legitimate attack. However, they warned that people should always be careful when walking around in mountain lion habitats. As of Monday, the department is still trying to catch the cougar, who is still believed to be roaming in the area. Wilson was relieved to see her brave, beloved pet up and running, but soon realized that Eva's injuries were more serious than she'd thought. The dog's face was covered in puncture wounds, and blood was flowing from her mouth. Wilson immediately set off on the hour-long drive to Redding, the nearest big city, to find emergency vet treatment. Despite Eva lapsing into convulsions during the frantic drive, veterinarians were able to treat the injuries, which included 2 fractures to the skull, a puncture into the sinus cavity, and severe swelling around her left eye. After spending several nights at the clinic, Eva will be allowed to return home on Friday. Wilson has created a GoFundMe account to help cover the vet's bills and has so far raised over $27,000 of an original $7,500 target. She says that some surplus funds will go to her Malinois rescues, big cat rescues, and predator management groups, so clearly doesn't bear her attacker any malice. It's rare to be attacked by a mountain lion. In fact, according to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, you're 1,000 times more likely to be struck by lightning. So while Wilson was unlucky to find herself the victim of an attack, she was extremely lucky that hero dog Eva was on hand to rescue her. "My dog is my hero, and I owe her my life," wrote Wilson on social media. See how this wild animal saved a woman from the worst. Thank goodness that these 3 lions were there for her. A 12-year-old Ethiopian girl was saved from a potential terrible fate by a group of 3 lions. The child was abducted by several men on her way to school and had been missing for a week. They had beaten her severely and tried to force her into marrying one of them. Eventually, her captors were chased off by the Pride of Lions. They stood guard until we found her, and then they just left her like a gift and went back to the forest, Sergeant Wandimo Wadaho told the Associated Press. Wadaho said the lions saved her from a fate far worse. If the lions had not come to rescue her, then it could have been much worse, he said. Often these young girls are raped and severely beaten to force them to accept the marriage. Even government officials in Ethiopia are astonished by lions' magical intervention. Everyone thinks this is some kind of miracle because normally the lions would attack people, Wadaho said. Local wildlife officials say it could have been the girl's cries that saved her, as she could have been mistaken for a lion cub. A young girl whimpering could be mistaken for the mewing sound from a lion cub, which in turn could explain why they didn't eat her, wildlife expert Stuart Williams, who is with the Rural Development Ministry, told NBC News. Game hunter Colonel Lema Lagase says this probably isn't true and the lions were just waiting to attack. They were probably preparing to eat her, but they were intercepted by the police and others, he told AFP news agency. Ethiopia's lions, which are famous for their black manes, are a rare sight, as Williams estimates there are only about 1,000 of them left in the wild. Their diminishing numbers are due to poaching, as their skins can go for $1,000 each. Authorities say the girl was given medical treatment for the cuts she received during her abduction, which left her shocked and terrified. 4 of the assailants have been captured, while 3 are still at large. Unfortunately, kidnapping is a common practice in Ethiopia, and it's considered to be a marriage custom in that it's practiced in rural areas where most of the country's 71 million people reside. Job was done. 7 out of every 10 women in the United States say they're unable to escape abusive relationships, in part because the abuser threatens to harm the family pet. 2 out of 5 women say they don't leave because they worry about what will happen to their dog. That's why this story of a heroic dog is not only special for the life he saved, but also for the lasting legacy his heroism has had in the community. A Great Dane named Hank saved his owner's life when she was violently attacked by her boyfriend. The man was beating her with a hammer and even pushed her straight through a wall. When Hank realized what was happening, he leaped in front of the man to protect her. When my Great Dane, Hank, heard me scream, he laid on top of me, said the victim, who wishes to remain anonymous. I tried to get him out of the way, but he received the first of many blows from my abuser. After badly beating him, the man threw Hank from a second-story window. Hank's injuries were severe and included a broken hip and ribs and other broken bones. I ran to him, but was told if I touched him, he would shoot him. I didn't know whether to believe him or not, and I didn't want to push it, the woman says of her attacker, who at this point had pulled a gun. She jumped in front of her car and fled to police, who returned to the home to arrest her abuser and rescue Hank. Police put her in touch with the Rose Brooks Center in Kansas City, an emergency shelter for women and children. But when she showed up with her 110-pound dog, the shelter had to make a decision: turn her away because the shelter didn't accept animals at the time, or make an exception. As the woman refused to abandon her guardian angel, and knowing her life was in danger, the center agreed to let them both stay. Hank became the first pet under the center's roof. I'm so glad we did, said Rose Brooks Center CEO Susan Miller at the time. It was just inspiring to see how she was able to heal better with the pet here. The Great Dane made a strong impression at Rose Brooks Center. He was the first animal to live there, but he's not been the last. That's because he inspired the center to build a pet-friendly wing to help other families like this. The center realized that by accepting pets, they would get rid of a serious barrier many individuals face when attempting to escape an abusive relationship. They also learned that children and adults do better when the pets remain with them. The center has housed over 36 dogs since opening a few years ago. As for Hank, he went on to be awarded the Valor Dog of the Year and People's Hero Award at the 5th Annual Dogs of Valor Awards. His heroism not only had a lasting impact on the life of his mom, he had a positive impact on the community at large for years to come. Hank's mom, remaining anonymous, telling her story and how she and the Brooks Center saved her life. I really hope other shelters consider doing the same thing that the Rose Brooks Center has done. I'm certain it will save lives. Here's another hero. For the last 5 years or so, folks living on this street in Montenegro have been caring for a dog named Meadow. Opening their homes and hearts to the sweet-natured former stray, But while his pleasant company has always been reward enough, Meadow recently went above and beyond for the sake of one of his friends, and now he's being hailed a hero. Last week, a woman from Meadow Street was returning home from the market when she was approached by an unknown man wearing a yellow jacket. As the dog looked on, the man proceeded to attack the woman from behind, knocking her to the ground. That's when Meadow leaped into action, biting the man and chasing him away. Incredibly, the entire incident was caught on neighbor Vladan Pavicic's security camera, leaving no doubt in the victim's mind about who ended the vicious attack. While she was watching the video the next day, she said, "Meadow saved me. God, Meadow saved me," Pavic told the dodo. What makes Meadow's actions all the more remarkable, Pavic said, is that the dog has never once shown aggression to anyone before. In fact, he's always been quite timid. Thankfully, the woman was only slightly bruised in the attack. Indeed, things could have been much worse if it weren't for her canine hero. On that day, Meadow got a royal lunch from her, Pavic said. Please share this with your friends and family.